LuvTru, project day 11. Big day. I could feel this one coming up. So 11 sets of 11 push-ups, 11 sets of 11 crunches, which have been newly added. This thing's evolving. Then the 11 minutes of meditation, followed up by 11-minute video. And the 11-minute video also includes some sort of gratitude I have for life, someone in it, some experience I've had or I am having in the moment. What I see with the physical, okay, is the physical is bringing my awareness to my physical appearance. So it's showing me a lot of the things are coming up around stuff that I've worked on of like attaching my worth or who I am or my status or whatever on my looks. And being so is it's one of the funny things that's come up is my chest, right? I got something right in my pocket. My chest is, I was teasing Kier, or with Kieran, I was like, babe, look how buff I am, right? Because I'm always super positive about everything. That's a side effect of being your truth, right? It takes a while, but then it's like almost obnoxious. So I'm messing around, right? And she's all, yeah, it looks great with your belly. And then I was like, laughed, right? Like, you know, because she's always complimentary about everything. So then I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, and I was like, I've been so absent-minded to my belly because I've been so like, oh, my chest isn't strong. And I'm like, wow, that's like my number one thing, right? And I kind of went into this about my chest, but I'm like hyper aware of like my thoughts and emotions. I'm almost looking for more and more, but because I'm curious and just open, shit's like flooding me, right? And then I'm like, literally, I'm doing my sit-ups and everything. I'm looking at myself and I'm like, how did I not notice this? Like, this didn't bother me at all. It's almost like it came overnight. Like, I suddenly had a belly and I was like, my eating habits are the same. Everything's the same. And I'm like, I've always had this. I've just, because I've been concerned about my chest and not really concerned, just that was like how far I went. Like, oh, my chest is small now and sometimes my arms and shit that I never even looked down. And now that this feels good, I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize. But that's a very cool awareness, like to be able to love myself to the next level. Because then my mind's working again, and I'm like, I've always, like in the last 8 years as I've done this and grown, I've found that my mind feels younger than ever. Like my actions, I'm always singing and like in the house, I'm always like walking around the house, like making up random songs. Like it drives the teenagers crazy sometimes. The kiddos, because it's kind of like too much. Like my singing's not great. I'm just bringing up subject matter about the dog or about whatever, right? And it's even surprising to me, not the actual singing part, but how I flow. Like, and I see that in this experience of doing this and now hyper doing it, like looking at it efficiently and going, oh, I want to improve this and really like get the most out of it. What I see is I tend to do everything bigger uh, just because I'm giving myself the freedom, almost the allowance to just go, to be loud, to be open, that I'm finding myself running into similar things that I did early on, you know, when I started this process about 8 or 9 years ago, where I was like, whoa, I just irritated that person, or I went too far with the kids or something, where I went, okay, I got to adjust, which I love because I understand the adjustment now. So in doing so, I'm learning even deeper. Like I always look at it as like scraping the barrel, right? Like I think I figured everything out inside of me, and then I'm like, oh, I want to dig deeper. I want to see what else is in there, just out of curiosity. Because one of the coolest side effects of living love and truth, and then really focusing in on a system, is that I get to enjoy myself in real time as others are enjoying me for the first time. Like when I break out into a song, it's something I never thought about before. I just did. And then I'm suddenly doing something, and then Kier starts laughing, and I start laughing, and I'm like, wow, in real time, I'm actually being myself. Low battery. Um, I think we're good though. So, very cool. That to me is such an amazing surprise, and it gives me permission to really not only do that with myself, but have that space for others. And that's what I see is really been a motivating factor to this. Is I've watched it over the years as I practiced it, figured it out enough in me, and had this amazing adventure and journey through it, and continually support and feed that my friends are more loving, more accepting. Like, who I've aligned myself with is brilliant. Like, I could have never done it any other way. The amount of love and support and them living their life and being their truth and going at it their way, at whatever level, right? Because everybody's doing their best, like starting or they're along their journey, and the acceptance of it and the support that has shown up as a side effect, right? That's why I bring up side effects. Is if I tried to get the friends I have now, I would have never achieved it. Like, as a goal, I would have scared them off. I would have been too much or tried too hard or manipulated, or something would have came in, because I'm like, the goal is to get people that love me and support me. But the side effect is when I put that energy into me and I do that for me, it creates a space that others could fill that space. They were naturally attracted to it. They're like, I don't know about this guy. He's weird. I don't know what he's got going on, but there's something about him. There was something that they could relate to that they were also working on by whatever means it was, on their journey. And it's crazy to have conversations with my friends and have them bring up books and seminars and retreats and all sorts of stuff through that avenue that I did early on to get going, like trying to understand this whole thing. And now I'm like, oh, of course they are, even though it doesn't matter if they are or they aren't. But that's why I see we align, is because we're both creating space for the others to step into it, to come into friendship, to come into relationship by some way, some form, taking action in our life. And that's been a big thing lately, that's come up around this, around the system of 11, or the side effect of 11, is creating that space through being willing to just go into it, being willing to just move forward and see what shows up. Because that's the whole idea of a side effect, is do something and you get some sort of result, side effect to that thing by being, rather than going after something. And to me, that's been huge and mind-blowing, to be honest with you, because the people in my life that I thought would be the last to get it, that would be the last to start making movements, to be the last to embrace this thing, have really been the ones that, just by being around them and interacting, and God putting me in situations that was like, oh, okay, here you can help support each other in a physical way by moving or doing something, has created this space where they in their own way are now making those moves. Where I'm like, holy shit, like, I never thought in a million years if I would have guessed that you would have been the one to take off with this thing. And that's really a lot that sparked this, was my understanding of, like, my life is amazing when I found this and I started to find myself. But it felt like an island, right? But I was like, I've never felt better. So if I'm the only one that understands this, and I live this way, and I live this love and truth and have these things happen, then it's worth it, because it's a million times better than my life before. But as I shifted, I felt like I was never gonna be understood. I was never gonna be embraced and loved for what I was. Like, I thought I was just gonna be an island. And then I saw, as I moved forward, how my partners, the next closest person, my lovers got it, right? Because they were invested and they got it. But then they hit a threshold and they're like, I'm out, which was understandable. I got it. I was like, I get it. I'm a lot. That's why I'm so in love with Kier. Oh, because she can hold that, right? And not even understand it in a lot of ways, and still hold space for me, even though I can see she's terrified, and love me through it. But I saw that to that level. And then I go to my kids, because they're around me, and saw them grow in it and learn and be able to, like, in their own ways. Nobody's doing it my way. That's not how it works. That's how I think it doesn't work in life, is somebody's being something and they're like, oh, be like that guy or be like this girl. But really the answer isn't being yourself. It's just trying that on and being very curious through the people that are around you that hold that space. And I see I do that huge because for me, I do it. Like, I'm my number one fan. Like, before I hated myself, before I couldn't stand to be with myself. And now it's like I wake up and I'm like, let's do this, right? And I still have struggles and challenges and all things, but that's a blessing, and it always has been and always will be. And I really cherish those and want those, embrace those, because those are what shows me my next thing I can't see without. And then I'm watching this go out to the next level. I'm watching how I brought in these friends and how my friends are now benefiting from how I show up and the space I hold on all different levels without even like giving it much attention, just by being around each other and celebrating life and loving life. I'm coming up on 11 minutes. I knew this would be short. My meditation was great. It was so emotional, crying through a lot of it. Thought this was going to be a whole cry fest. I have this idea that further on down this, somewhere along the line, all I'm going to do is cry in the whole video. Love you guys. Bye.